Call to order the Alexander County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, June the 6th, 2022. I'll be recognizing Commissioner Larry Yoder for invocation and Commissioner Josh Lale for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand.
Let's pray. Our kind, most gracious, we appreciate the opportunity that we can gather this way in a free country. We appreciate the opportunity that we can have our religion and worship in the ways that we see fit to worship Thee. We'd ask that you be with those folks in Texas and the other areas that have been affected by devastating injuries and death to people in our country. Be with those families, be with the first responders, be with our local and state and federal leaders, and be with those leaders throughout the world that they can come together in some way to bring peace throughout our world. We'd ask you to look after each and every one of us, guide us as we try to do the things that's necessary to take care of our county and to those folks that live within our county. We'd ask you to be with each and every one of us as we travel home tonight. Take us home safely and be with all the ones in the audience that they may get home safely. For we ask all those things in thy name. Amen.
If you would join me for the pledge. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next item of business, we have a special recognition to key to the county to retiring clerk of the court, Mr. Denny Dyson, and I think Mr. Yoder will be taking care of that. If you
would come on up.
I'll try to make sure I say kind words about you. Okay. All right. Danny has served a total of 36 years at the Alexander County Clerk of Court's office, 23 years as deputy and assistant clerk, and the remaining 13 years as a clerk. He was born and raised in Alexander County and is married to Kendra Warren Dyson and has had 2 children, Derek and Caitlin. Danny is very community-minded, having served in the past on the Bethlehem Crop Walk Event Committee, the YMCA Management Council, County Recreation Board, and Caring Hearts Pregnancy Center Events Committee. He is the past chairman of the American Cancer Society Relay for Life event and served as an assistant softball coach for ACHS and East Alexander Middle School. He is an active member of East Taylorsville Baptist Church, where he has taught youth Sunday school and held the position of deacon. The Board of Commissioners would like to thank Danny for his many years of service to the citizens of Alexander County and congratulate him on a well-deserved retirement. And Danny, I'd like to say that, from my standpoint, that I appreciate your service and what you've done in this community, not only as clerk of court, but as an active part being involved in the community and helping children, and also one of those go-getters. He served with softball for many years, and the contributions you've made to this community goes without saying. And at this time, I'd like to present to you this key to the county, and it says the Alexander County Board of Commissioners hereby presents this key to the county upon Danny Dyson in recognition of his many years of dedicated service to the Alexander County Clerk of Court's office, presented June 6, 2022. Danny, thank you for your service, my man. Yes, sir. And enjoy retirement. Oh, yeah. Okay? Enjoy retirement. Okay. One more. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And if you'd ask your family to come up so they can get a picture of you all together, sir, that'd be great. Okay?
Could I say a couple words?
Oh, you can say whatever you'd like to say.
First,
I didn't feel that you'd be hard to say anything.
I don't get to talk a lot, but I do want to thank the commissioner for the award and the commissioners through the years for anything, I've needed there at the courthouse. I've been able to call Rick, and he's got back with me right away, and we try to solve any issues that we had. point out some of the county employees that's been helpful to me is Josh, maintenance guys, Frank, George, Scott. Anytime we needed something, they was there right away, and I appreciate that. And then the IT guys, I know Greg's, he just retired recently, but I think Justin's already been up and helped us out with some stuff too. So I do thank all the county's input and help with those things too. And there's a group that I didn't really talk about the last time that, when we had my event up there, is and you guys are kind of part of that too, is the courthouse security. Y'all help kind of innovate and get us a little more security there. The bailiffs and the security personnel, those guys and gals do a good job, and I appreciate them too. So I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We need the family up here, don't we?
Yeah, we need the family up here.
It's photo time.
Two, three. One, two, three. Thanks, sir.
Next item, any commissioner have a report?
I will say this, Mr. Chairman, these kids and parents have been enjoying the park uptown, Alexander County Courthouse Park, and they're keeping that splash pad active. I mean, there's a crowd up there about every afternoon, and it's nice to see those folks out there and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and I've noticed too, when I go through town, there's always somebody there, and the water's spraying pretty high and good, so I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. Hope the kids are enjoying it, and, just remember too, if we take care of it, keep it clean, it'll last for a long time, and it's kind of the honor system right now, so hopefully we won't have to do anything beyond that, but, everyone just, pick up what you see laying there when you drop something, and if there's a problem, there's numbers there, I think, in there, Mr. French. If there's something that's wrong, there's a number to contact, for any help, whatever may be needed, so, but we do thank everyone, hope everyone is enjoying that, and hopefully we can do some more things, so. Is that all? Anybody else? All right, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as given in our booklets.
So moved.
Second. Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone for public comment? Okay. Moving on to item number 2, public hearing for nuisance case at 1078 William McLeod Road, complaint number 829. I'd recognize Cody Bowers, Building Code Officer. And as he's coming up, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of opening the public hearing, raise your hand. Thank you. Carries unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Long time no see.
Yeah, been a while. That's good, though.
Yeah, for sure. As we said, this is a code case on Willie McLeod Road. Since I've kind of changed responsibilities, so I apologize for that. This is one that could have came before you guys maybe a couple months ago, but, so, any complainants in the audience or listening on the radio, I apologize for that. I sent the first letter on October 8th. This has been kind of a weird scenario where the property owner lives way kind of away, and she's by herself kind of deal. So and then an influx of calls just kept rolling in. So basically what we got is a house that at first, I guess, started using their garage as the landfill, had just filled up a garage. And I seen that when I served the second letter. The grass has grown up pretty much everywhere, and they got trash in the backyard as well. In the garage, as you see there on the picture, they've started on the outside, but that detached garage right there on the side of the picture, I mean, it's probably 5, 6 foot tall all the way back. It's about like that. In our nuisance ordinance, we don't necessarily cover storage of trash inside of the property, but in our solid waste ordinance, 50.35, section B, says, you know, you've got to dispose of your waste in a sanitary manner. So, unfortunately, I didn't really have access to the rest of the house to get better pictures. I did go to a neighbor who allowed me to kind of sneak behind and get those photos there that are showing. But this has been an issue since at least last year. I went by there again today just to double check, make sure, you never know. And as far as I could tell, same old, same old. So it's in the inspections department to recommend abatement.
Okay. Willie McLeod, is that off of
127?
Okay.
Is it currently occupied?
As far as I know, that was kind of the complication, without getting into the weeds here. The property owner, once I spoke to her, that's kind of the issue, is it's occupied, and she may or may not want it to be, so my hands are tied as far as that goes. You know, obviously, I'd recommended her to seek an attorney as far as that goes, but I did explain to her that regardless, the legal and financial responsibility falls on the property owner.
I see there's a car. Is that car tagged or?
The one that is there, as far as I could tell, it was fine. When this case had kind of first started, that car was never there really, and then the last few times I've went by there, it's been there. It appears operational. Really, the main concern that I would have is the left side of the house. If you're facing the house from Willie McLeod, the right side, it's being overtaken by vegetation. I mean, there's a number of potential issues there, but staying on track, there's plenty of code violations as far as our nuisance ordinance.
Okay. So no attempts has been made to clean or remove?
I've been in contact with the property owner, but she lives like 5-6 hours away. She's on Social Security. She don't necessarily have money, I don't guess, and she can't control the people that are there. Once I spoke to her, I started hand delivering letters as well, just because, you know, maybe they would kickstart something. So I got photos on my phone where I would hand deliver letters, and that's how I got the photo inside of the garage. I didn't necessarily want to walk in there, but I would leave it in a pretty accessible place, right there at the door.
Pretty full, looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the way full.
How close are the next houses? Are they pretty close by?
There's one across the road, and if you're facing the house from Willie McLeod, there's one to the left, maybe probably 200 feet, or 200 yards away, maybe. I mean, there's not anything super, super close, but close enough.
No. Okay.
Definitely to cause an issue with rats and stuff like that.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner? Anyone in the audience speak? It is a public hearing. So you're saying abatement 30 days?
I mean, yeah, it's, you know, on one side of things, you can kind of let the sentimental part, but at the same time, everybody's got to kind of do their part. So I would recommend abatement just for neighbors and the community's sake. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while from the letter, so if nothing is has happened?
It's gotten worse, yeah, for sure.
Looks like the letter was back in October originally, right?
Yes, my first letter, that's when I received the complaint, was October. And then around December, January, I transitioned over to building inspections, and things kind of got lost in the shuffle with that, so.
So it's been ongoing for around 9 months or so.
Okay, if there's no other questions for Mr. Bowers, I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion is accepted unanimously. I'll make a motion that abatement 30 days from today.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mr. Bauer. Moving on to our item number 3, public hearing, Alexander County 2022-23 proposed budget, and recognize County Manager Rick French. I need to open the,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On May 16th, presented a budget message. The budget at that time was $52,385,000. It contained a 4-cent property tax decrease and no other tax increases. Since that time, we have added some revisions, some budget revisions, a pretty substantial revision from DSS after discussion with the commissioners. And also, we've looked at a few other costs. We had a remount, an EMS ambulance remount, but there's an increase, there's going to be a small increase there, and a QRV, there's a couple other minor positions. The main thing that several of us have talked about is what we're going to do for funding for the volunteer fire departments. And we have different amounts, different scenarios in the budget, and just to sort of say where we're going with this, the board is planning a budget work session on Monday, June 13th at 5 p.m. at the County Administration Building, and we're going to review a lot more in detail about the fire departments. The fire departments do a great job. I've looked at a lot of different situations with the fire departments. A lot of it comes down to, the volunteers, of course, but also paid staff, working with them, providing some paid staff. Also, with volunteers, some of them can run a lot more calls than others, and we have several departments that run an enormous amount of calls. And so just want to say that at this time, in reviewing these things, there was some discussion about a sales tax, and there is a sales tax that we would be eligible for. It's a 1/4 cent. There's a process. I've talked with the association, North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and we would have to go through their legislative process later this year, and then hopefully get something recommended for the long session, which would start in January of '23. Again, that's just sort of an overview of where we are tonight. We would look forward to, after the meeting on the 13th, adopting the budget ordinance on June the 20th. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
guess I need to open the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to open the public hearing. Have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, public hearing's open. Thank you, gentlemen. That's a lot of good information, and I think a lot of us are on board with, as you mentioned, the sales tax to fund some of our emergency fire departments and some of those things, but we'll take a little bit of time to probably get that going, but we're looking at those things too, so any commissioners, any questions? Finance Committee has met several times, and we're trying to work the best budget we can, for the county. And that's what I was going to try to do. There are things we still have to fund too, so we want to make sure that, we're covering as good as we can. And as Mr. French said, our fire departments, I realize they've been kind of lacking a little. We want to try to, take care of those guys, because it's real good if you have something burning, you get on the phone and you make that call, and you get a couple trucks to show up and some people that can take care of it. That's really nice. And there's a couple here tonight. Appreciate what y'all do for Ashley and Matt Jordan, for our fire departments. Appreciate y'all's work every day. A lot of other things that you do too that people don't realize that ties into that also. So, anyone in the public have a comment? It's a public hearing. Okay. If not, make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, a motion and
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Public hearing's closed. And we will remember that date. You said it's on Monday, the
13th.
13th, 5
5
p.m.
o'clock.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 4. Recognize Allison Adams from the COG on readoption of the Alexander County Comprehensive Plan, and she's Director of Community and Regional Planning. Make a motion to open another public hearing.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of commission. Good to be here tonight in Dustin's place. I'm doing him a little bit of a favor, but that's okay. I enjoy being in front of all you guys. So the reason why I'm here tonight is for the readoption of the Alexander County Comprehensive Plan. It is part of the 160D general legislation that went through, specifically Section 501, where July 1, 2022, you have to have a reasonably a reasonable time frame of an adopted plan. So it can't be, however many years old. And so what we'd like to do tonight is get that readopted and move forward from there.
All
If
right.
you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, I think that's good. We need to, it's been a while since we've looked at it. Once we do this, then we can look at what needs to be done. So I make a motion to, does anyone have anything to say as far as the public hearing? Any commissioner? Anyone in the audience? Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of closing, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. I make a motion to readopt our comprehensive plan as given in our agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Allison.
Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, we have another public hearing. I'm getting good at opening and closing these things. I make a motion that we open a public hearing for Alexander County Hazardous Waste Materials Containment Plan update, and we'll recognize Rick French after opening the hearing. Need a motion?
So make a motion to open the public hearing.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Mr. French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, I'd like to ask that the public hearing be continued until the regular meeting in July, and I would like to give us plenty of time to share that proposed hazardous materials containment ordinance with all the fire departments, rescue squad, and everybody. I don't think that's been done at this time, and we want to better communicate, so I want to recommend that we take that step, and then when we have our meeting, there'll be time for questions and answers about the
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay, all right.
So we need to continue the,
Okay. I make a motion to continue the public hearing, Alexander County Hazardous Waste Materials Containment, as given to us by County Manager Rick French. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, we will relook that on June the 20th.
July.
July. Okay, 4 times flying, I tell you. It is. July. I'd be showing up late. Moving on to item number 6, our county sales tax revenue for 2021-2022 budget year. I'd recognize County Manager, Mr. Rick French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the sales tax report, the regular sales tax, we have received a little over $5 million so far this year, which represents 78.23% of the budget. And we've also, 75% of the budget has expired. Also, that represents 8.75% increase from the same time last year. The new sales tax, which is for economic development, public education, and community college, we have received $1,437,000, which represents a little over 75% of the budget collected. And again, it's 75% of the budget year. The budget for the new sales tax is $1,916,000, which is a 13.4% increase. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. French, and good news when our tax keeps going.
It is.
On the positive side, so helps things. And I think people are doing a real good job. I know Gary Herman has helped us a lot on buying local. Keep it going, brother. And all our citizens too, by buying things that can be bought here and spending money in Alexander County. It does make a difference. If you spend it somewhere else, it helps that county. Doesn't really help us too much, but just keep that in mind as we're buying and doing things. You have any comment? Okay, being none, we'll move on to item number 7, budget ordinance amendments, number 98 through 103. Recognize Mr. Rick French.
Mr. Chairman, Jamie, our clerk, is going to
Okay,
read
all
this
right.
out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. French, budget amendment number 98 is to increase the detention center budget for estimated medical supplies and inmate medical bills for the remainder of the 21-22 budget year, including a single invoice of almost $49,000 for a safekeeper inmate held in state custody. It's also to increase the detention center budget for the estimated cost of meals for inmates for the remainder of the 21-22 budget year. Meals are purchased from the state prison at $2 per meal. Number 99 is to increase the DSS budget for low-income energy assistance supplement payments issued for all households that receive a LEAP payment during state fiscal year 21-22. 100 is to increase the library budget for donations received in excess of original budget estimates. 101 is to adjust the general fund budget for personnel costs of the FY 2022 fiscal year, that is 2022, that differed from original budget estimates. 102 is to adjust the solid waste fund and landfill closure fund budgets for fiscal year 22 personnel and operating costs that differed from original budget estimates. And 103 is to budget for a deobligation of the Borealis Compounds Building Reuse CDBG project grant funds due to circumstances that prevented completion of the grant-funded activities. The grant project is closed out, and there will be no additional expenses or revenues.
Well, thank you, Madam Clerk. Several amendments there. Does anyone have any questions on any of those?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve budget ordinance amendment 98 through 103.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, raise your right hand for a vote of approval. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item number 8, board appointments and reappointments. Historic Preservation Committee. Recognize Rick French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Historic Preservation Committee reappoint Nancy Coley and Commissioner Larry Yoder for 3 years. And that's the only appointment or reappointment we have tonight.
Okay. All right. Everyone's heard those recommendations?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the Historic Preservation Committee reappointments, Nancy Coley and Larry Yoder.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. And item number 9, I recognize our county manager again for county manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a report for tonight. I have something for closed session.
Okay, all right, thank you. This time, I'd make a motion for approval of the consent agenda. It's been, everyone's had a chance to look at it in your packets.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any questions or discussions? Being none, I'd vote for approval. Raise your right hand. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will make a motion to enter into closed session for adjournment per closed session NCGS statute 143-318-11 at 4, 5, and 6 for economic development, contractual, and personnel. And we will re-adjourn for adjournment only. I would entertain a second.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you, gentlemen. We're now in closed session. Thank you.